Welcome back to Covino and Rich, and we have a guest.
Yeah!
He is Thom Neil, head bartender at St. Andrew's Bar and Restaurant on West 46th Street. Welcome to the show, man.
Thanks for having me on.
Welcome, Tom. Our new friend, and hopefully free drinks.
I was going to say, I think every guy in their late 20s, 30s hits a stage where they want to investigate scotches. It's something they're like, they don't know much about, but they want to learn about. So I'm glad you're here with us today.
Well, I'll do the best I can to help you guys out.
Help us all become more manly, right?
Yeah, when you're new to this scene, should you investigate like top-level scotches off the bat, or should a beginner start with some beginner scotch?
There's not really a beginner scotch. There's good scotch and bad scotch. If you start with bad scotch, you're never going to like it.
Okay, so you got to start with the good stuff.
Not overly good. I mean, you're going to start with something that's going to be just easy drinking. You're going to be something that's a little bit sweet. If you go with something that's not good quality, it's going to be bad. It's going to put you off forever. God, don't want to do that.
So never the cheap stuff.
No.
Now, are these 4 bottles that every guy should start off with, or are there 4 you recommend?
I mean, to a certain extent, these guys would work, but because they're different and they're not all single malts, you need something a bit different. Usually I say you need to go something in different regions. Usually an Islay, an Island, a Speyside, and a Highland. The different regions are different flavours and allows you to experience different parts of the whiskey and allow you to be able to find the one that you really want.
Okay, outstanding. By the way,
We need to experience all of them because a lot of people don't know this, but we're actually lords of Glencoe, Scotland. We own property.
Yeah, a 50-square-foot patch. But still, nonetheless, we are lords.
As long as you can stand in it, it's good.
Exactly.
Official lords, and we have a little card to prove it.
Oh, that's good. Just bring an umbrella.
Yeah, and we were huge Roddy Piper fans growing up as kids.
He's Canadian.
Oh, he's Canadian? Yeah. What a scam he is.
Go with Sean Connery. He's better.
Sean Connery's way better. So what should we start with here? What do we investigate?
You know what? Why don't we go with the bourbon? Because that's an American drink. That is the American Revolution is based on this alcohol when it started out anyway. Bourbon starts off as moonshine. That's where it came from.
Okay.
The big difference from it is when you put it into the cask, that's where you start getting all this colorization and the flavours come out in it. So this is probably the good thing to start with because it's American.
Okay. Now, what are we tasting for? Like, what are we looking for here?
When you go into a whiskey, I could tell you everything you should taste and you'll probably believe me. But at the end of the day, it's what you taste and what you want and what you need which will help with the whiskies. Because
will this help with my bad back? Because my back is hurting a lot.
If you drink the whole bottle, yes.
All right, good. All right, so maybe later. But how do you know what scotches go neat or with water or on ice? You know, like how do you know that?
Basically, it's up to your own choice. It's up to your own taste. When you get whiskey, the best way to try it first off is right out the bottle, nothing added to it.
Okay.
And they say that you should add a little bit of water because it helps break down the alcohol inside it so it's not as strong in your taste buds. So you can actually taste what's coming out of the bottle. Because, I mean, it's a high alcohol drink. The water breaks it down a little bit. And after that, it's down to your own choice. If you want to add a little bit more ice to it, it's going to water down the drink. And it depends if you like it at that stage. Sometimes you just have to move on to a different whiskey.
Does it matter how long it's actually in the bottle or only the cask? Because some guys might think, I'll buy it and just let it sit around for years. Does it matter how long it's actually in the bottle?
If it's an unopened bottle, you can have it for years. It's never going to change the flavour as long as it's unopened. There's nothing inside a glass canister that's going to make this whiskey taste any differently.
Now you said whiskey and then you said bourbon. What's the difference there?
The biggest difference...
We need to know the terminology.
The biggest difference is bourbon is American. Scotch whiskey is from Scotland. Irish whiskey is from Ireland. That's where it comes down to. They are made slightly different. They start off with water and yeast, but usually with single malt whiskey, it usually comes down to barley, and with bourbon, it has to be 51% corn.
What's the difference between blended and malt when you hear people, you throw around those terms?
Some people try and get it complicated. The easiest way is to go by single malt, single, one place. Blend, several distilleries put together. So a single malt is made in one distillery.
Okay.
A blended whiskey is a mix of several distilleries.
All right, you know what?
Let's give it a shot.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's start tasting it.
We'll go with the bourbon first, because obviously we're in America. We need to go with that.
All right.
Bourbon.
I'm excited.
Now, you and I, I'll be honest, you and I usually just have some beers or some drinks or something like that. I feel like I want to start getting into this.
Yeah, and you know what? You're cutting down the calories a little bit, right? So that's
why I guess you're avoiding the mixers?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's very good for your heart.
Girly drinks.
It's good for your heart as well.
All right.
Let's see.
Cheers. Thank you, Tom.
It's going to be pretty strong, right? It's got
Yeah,
a
it is.
kick to it. What you can do as well is add a little ice if you want to.
Yeah, right.
Does that make you look like a wimp?
Right.
To folks, like if I was like, yeah, let me get a little ice in here.
If it was a little bit of ice, no, not necessarily. If you're going to put a lot of ice in, you might as well just add a touch of whiskey to it.
What if you lime it up a little bit? Does that take away from the, is that like putting barbecue sauce on a good steak? Is that wrong?
It would like it's not tequila. You can't do something like that. It's not. You don't want to add any too much of a citrus to the whiskey because then it just becomes citrus.
Actually, I have a good question. I'm enjoying this.
You have a good question? Let him be the judge of that, okay?
No, it's a good one. I mean, you're supposed to sip and savor it, right? The instinct is to swig it back and do a shot, but you're supposed to take your time with this, correct?
Yeah, I mean, they spent 12 years, 15 years, 16, 18 years making this. If you're going to make it disappear in 2 seconds, you're either extremely rich or already drunk.
Especially if it's the good stuff, right?
Yeah.
So what's the best you've ever tasted?
The best I've tasted, I mean, I have gone through quite a lot, but my particular favourite is probably the Oban 18 at the moment. It's from a small town in Scotland called Oban. It's right on the coast, and it's just a delicious whiskey. There's everything. I've tasted so many that I've come down to those ones. It's just a flavour of the sea with a little peat.
Is that pricey then? If it's the best?
Not necessarily.
No?
No.
What is the priciest one? I know online they got like these trading websites where guys got 50-plus-year-old bottles. What's the most expensive bottle that's available for most people?
There's 2 that I know of. One of them is in the Amsterdam airport in the duty free. That's €250,000. The other one is a Dalmore that was sold for $152,000.
You need to be balling to have that, huh?
You definitely need a little bit of money behind you.
What else do you have with you? Let's try another here.
So we've got the single malt, we've got a blend. The blend is called Monkey Shoulder.
Let's try them. I want to try some monkey shoulder. I think that sounds delicious.
This is from the guys that make
it. Does it really sound delicious, though?
Yeah, I'm going to try.
Monkey shoulder?
You're going to like it. This one's a nice one. It's easy drinking. It's a little bit lighter. It's smooth. I mean, it's a damn good whiskey.
When Covino said sipping, versus doing a shot, do you guys look at people that are shooting this as like immature frat guys? Is that like a douchey thing to do? Does a real man sip it?
The majority of the time, the people that down it either don't like it or are just trying to prove a point. But they can drink it. We don't necessarily like to judge people when they come into the bar. It's not really a part of a bartender thing. But
this will put, as my grandfather would say, this will put hair on your chest.
Right.
Definitely. This one.
You're gonna have a hairy monkey shoulder.
There you go. It actually comes from when they were moving over the barley with a shovel, and that's where the pain they got from. That's what they named it. I mean, this was about 100 years ago, so we can't judge them on their choice of words.
Now, what's the one on the end?
This one is the Balvenie 40. It's the most expensive bottle that we carry on our shelves at the moment, and it's been aged for 40 years.
Really? So it's 40 years old. Do they get old? Does Scotch ever go old?
Not in that definition of how old it can be. Obviously, if you leave a bottle unopened and the seals broke on it, you're going to lose some of the flavour, and if you leave it longer, the more you're going to lose. It's not like a wine where you let it breathe and stuff like that. Whiskey breathes most of its life. It's just trying to get you drunk.
Well, thank you for showing us a little bit about this.
We appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Try to evolve into cooler guys. Cheers to you.
Our thanks to Thom Neil. I appreciate you being here, man. We got more Covino and Rich next, including a winning formula that every team should follow. Stay right here. Covino and Rich.
Cheers.
Oh, cheers, brother.
All right. Thank you, Thom.
Thank you, Thom.
No problem.
You the man.
Pleasure. Thank you for being here.
You like the monkey shoulder?
Yeah, no, strong, man.
The 40 you would not appreciate. I guarantee you would not appreciate